Hello everyone, can you hear me alright? Yes you can, and now we are ready to begin the live stream. We're round 1, tier 4, here in Zeta High Speed Corner Zeta, and it is the first round. We'll see what drivers get to grips with their car. It's the first round, of course. We had all the testing, it's gone now, it's done, and now we can see the true pace of everyone on the grid. We've got Nodjek, Polgak, Enzo Williams going out on into tyres, getting to grips with a hard layout here in Zeta. I believe you've got 26 corners off my brain. Yeah, I believe 26. So a lot of high speed corners, including that. Right, let's see. We've got a ton of drivers already going out. We've got Q1. We've got 17 minutes in Q1. Will it be enough? Surely it's enough, but you've got to absolutely nail that lap here in Zeta. You could maybe go over a centimetre off the track so easily here in Zeta, and your lap will be invalidated. Let's see what happens. Maybe you're pushing the limits too much like Max Verstappen with his qualifying lap in Zeta in 2021. So you've got to be careful, but you've also got to be right on the limit, not going over it. But you've got to be on the limit to get that perfect lap time. You've got to have a whole bunch of confidence here in Zeta. So let's see what drivers have the most confidence coming into qualifying Q1. I don't expect we'll see any outstanding times during Q1, more just people wanting to get through to Q2 without maybe DNFing from the session. It would be bad if you DNF through Q1. So a lot of drivers will be careful here as we see the Alpine and Haas now starting their flying lap, I believe, yes. But we have the Haas in front of the Alpine, I believe, blocking the Alpine during the exit of turn 1. Most people going out on the soft tyres. Most people not taking any risks, not warming up. You've got to set a good banker lap. You never know when you've got to be invalidated. I believe here in Zeta, quantity is the key because, let's face it, you might invalidate some of your laps and you're just gonna have that one lap which really stands out. And it's gonna take you a few laps to perfect it, but let's see what drivers have the most confidence in their car, and especially in themselves, since it's Zama who drives the car around every corner here, the 26 whole corners here at Zeta. As we see our Haas going through Sector 3 now, I believe. Yes, they are. They're on medium tyres, so, you know, some drivers, I believe we've got 4 on track right now, currently doing some warm-up laps on tyres which aren't soft. Maybe they believe they can get through and they have a lot of natural pace, but we haven't seen anything competitive yet, because all we had since now is pre-season testing, and that's not really the best opportunity since maybe drivers aren't pushing the limits and there isn't that competitive factor involved, which is so crucial to motorsports nowadays. But we see the first 4 drivers, 2 of them being on mediums, putting in their banker lap. We've got 129 for the medium tyre runners, and the soft tyre runners, not the best lap, but they're creeping up into 128 with a 128.958 from XD Wavy 966 here. As we see Subtali 90 putting in the fastest lap here in Q1 with a 128.6, which was shortly topped by the Ferrari driver, putting in 300. No, and now, as I say that, the Red Bulls going 1-2 with a 127.5 for Vax on pin. The drivers improving here, constant improvement around Zeta, and maybe you're gonna have to stay out on those soft tires and really get a lap in and maybe then go on to another set late in the session. Get to grips with the track, as I said, but we've got the Ferrari. They were in the fastest lap spot for Q1 a few seconds ago, but then a few seconds later the Red Bulls tops that with a 127.9 and a 127.5. It's looking good for Red Bull so far. It looks like they have a lot of natural pace, as we see the Red Bull of Banks on Pin slam it in to the inside of the wall at, I believe, turn 17 off the top of my head, but I'm going to have to check myself out on that one. Don't quite know as much as that, but we've got Raw now, who is yet to set a lap time. They are on their bank a flying lap here, as we have yellow flags being thrown through sector 2 and 3. I believe that is for Red Bull, who is cutting across the chicane. We have constant improvements here at Zeta. We've got the first round of Tier 4. We've got people setting lap times, constantly getting better and better. We're in for a great qualifying session, and this is going to be a good omen for all those teams who top the spots, and currently that would be Red Bull. It's a good omen for them coming into the next qualifying sessions and coming into the further stages of the season, actually. If you can top it in the first race, maybe you can maintain that performance. We've got that AlphaTauri of raw anger going through the chicane of turn 20, I believe, but we've got the track map up now. Not 26, 27 corners around Zeta here. It's a long track as well. But could raw anger, they'll put their AlphaTauri in P3 with a 128.1. They had a whole clear track in front of them to push the track limits to their absolute brink, and they have absolutely done that. They used that space, but as I say that, Conor Barry put their McLaren right in front of the AlphaTauri with a 127.9. So these drivers, they're expecting they'll be safe for a Q2 appearance. So let's see if they go out again, or will they take that risk of staying in and not wasting another set of soft tyres. You'd hate to do that here. That will limit your strategy in Z-end, with all the safety cars and red flags now being introduced, I believe, about 4 years ago. So you never know what could happen here. And Zeta as well, high speed, overtaking track. You never know what the safety car will provide, and maybe you'll have to use that soft tyre in the final few laps to get a performance boost if there's a safety car. So I'd be wary about not using all your compounds for Q1. As I say that, Jesus Milan in the Mercedes, they are starting their flying lap. They're going cleanly through turn 5 and 6 now. Oh, but they gone wide at the exit of turn 5. And I did not believe that will be a clean lap from the Mercedes, as they had to slow down there not to invalidate their lap. But behind them we have Amputee, who is actually putting in the fastest first sector of anybody else. They're getting a good slipstream from the back of that Mercedes, as the Mercedes now backs off their lap, but we will see Amputee evoked. They're going through turn 80 now, I believe, as let's see how they'll do through the chicane of turn 22, 23 and 24. They're doing a clean lap, fastest second sector and first sector of anybody yet. This is flying pace from the Ferrari, but could they top it off with a good exit from turn 27. Be careful not to put it into the wall like Max Verstappen did in 2021. But they haven't done that. And now they will come across the line, taking the inside line to put a 1:27.8 on the board for the Ferrari team. That is a good lap, and applaud yourself for that, because that puts them into P2, provisional P2, and surely that will guarantee them safety into Q2. That is a flyer from the Ferrari. We've got Jesus Milan. I believe they're starting another flying lap attempt after they gone slow on the other one. And you've got that very tricky chicane at turn 5 and 6. It always puts drivers off. And it might ruin your lap, it might ruin your race. So you gotta be careful to stay off that curb at turn 5. Because you might carry straight on ahead. And that would not be ideal for anyone. But Jesus Milan, they've got a 1:36.2 on the board. Obviously, they're already in the drop zone, and that won't be a competitive time. We've got a vast difference from P1 and P16 or 15, either way. We've got about 4 seconds in it, which is quite a big gap, especially for Q1. As everyone now opting for the soft tyres. We've seen some people put on the mediums at the start of the qualifying session in Q1, but now as they're opting to go onto soft tyres, no one taking their chances here in the first round. You of course don't know how much pace you have compared to the rest of the field, and how well you do around Jeddah compared to everyone else. So everyone going safe. We've got yellow flags through sector 3 for a slow going Ferrari, I believe, who is cradling past turn 27 now. So waiting for that to disappear. See how many more minutes we've got left. I believe we've got 5 minutes. It just flashed up right ahead of me. Yes, we've got 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in Q1. That is more than enough to go around that track twice. If everyone comes out of the pits, yes. We're going to see some people now coming out of the pits to start their final flying lap. As we see F1 Moors in the Aston Martin. What could they do? They're currently in the drop zone. They'll need an improvement. Going now through turn 4 here. Now round turn 5, high speed corners, they did not mount that curb and they've stayed within track limits for the tricky part of the circuit. So let's see what they could do as we approach the oval of turn 13. They have set the fastest sector 1 time in Q1 of anybody else, as we see now drivers peering out of the pits for their final flying lap and final crack at a good lap time. Those people in the bottom for this session here is actually bottom 4, so they'll need to absolutely push track limits. But F1 Moors is doing that, and doing that spectacularly is F1 Moors in the Aston Martin, who has now set the fastest sector 2 time of anybody else. You've got to keep it clean, keep it nice through turn 27. Oh, and they've gone into wall at the exit of turn 27. Straight into wall, but they've continued. Into Aston Martin, it's going to be P5 for F1 Moors in Q1. Surely that will guarantee them safety. I don't believe they'll manage to pull off another lap. So that is a 1:28.0 for F1 Moors. And that is a good time from the Aston Martin driver. And I am back as we see F1 Moors, I believe, skins a wall on turn 16 or 17. If they didn't skin it, I believe they got perilously close to it, and they've invalidated their lap time. And I don't believe they'll go again for the rest of the session. We've got 4 drivers now, currently P16, 17, 18 and 19. Those are at risk. Those interesting ones are Conan Wine 7 Inza AlphaTauri and Errol Matthew Inza Williams, because we haven't seen a single lap time from them yet, so we can't judge their pace at all. But Conan Wine is actually leaving it quite late. We've got, I believe, less than 2 minutes now left in the Q1 session, and they're currently sitting P18. I don't believe they'll go out again, but we see F1 Moors retire from the session. That pushes them down to P15 actually. Not quite sure why, but it does, as we see. La Haas, they're going to enable DRS as soon as they can to cross the line, going into P5. Right, we've got Oliver, who is currently in the drop zone. They are going out of the garage and into turn 1, as we see a slow Mercedes through sector 1. Will they get in the way of the McLaren? No, they won't. The McLaren sticking to the curb, but not going over it, which is good. They're keeping it within track limits, on the limit. Now, through the spiral of turn 13, you gotta get a good exit. And it looks like the McLaren has full sort run down to turn 14, 15, 16 here. You've got a lovely chicane, high speed around Zeta, of course. You've got that with mostly every corner here in Saudi. Oliver pushing the limits in their McLaren. They're currently in the drop zone. They'll have to pull out something special. And something special that they have pulled out. They've got the fastest sector 2 time of anybody else in Q1, and we've got the top 4 currently in the pit lane, but will they be safe? Tasty play in P13. I don't believe they will be, as Oliver keeps it clean through last corner to set their lap time, getting DRS. And now that McLaren is flying through last sector as they set the fastest time through sector 3, and they go into P5. Shortly knocked down to P6 as FBI agent in the Mercedes put their Mercedes in P1 for Q1 with a 127.4, about a tenth of a second faster than anybody else through Q1, and these drivers will be safe. But we've got Conan Win 7 they're on the flying lap, I believe, as they go through sector 2. As in about this track is that it's actually anti-clockwise, I believe. So, more left-handers than right-handers. That will wear out, I believe, the right-hand tyre more than the left. So, let's see what Conan Wine could do in the AlphaTauri. They're keeping it clean, they're keeping it fresh, and they're keeping it fast, with the fastest sector 2 time of anybody else. They're gonna cross the line, and let's see what it will be. It will be not safety, as they are knocked out in Q1 with P17 from the AlphaTauri, and that is not good enough, as they are knocked out. But Rorang, their teammate, puts it into P4, and they are through to Q2. We've got F1 Moors, both Aston Martins out, actually, for Q1. So both Aston Martins, P15 and 16, not a great zone from them. And as discussed, Conan Wine 7 in P17, Errol Matthew in P18, and Jesus is Milan. They didn't get to cross the line to start their best lap. They really got hit by the invalidated lap times hard, as they put their Mercedes in P19 with a 1:36.2, 8.7 seconds off the pace of the leader in Q1. I think I already need a lie down after Q1. It was a roller coaster, constantly improving lap times, and there is no doubt that we won't see that again in Q2. But we've got Hams is here. Unser Haas being the first one to go around this anti-clockwise track here in Jeddah to start their flying lap. And people now, they're gonna take no risks at all during Q2. I have no doubt at all everyone will set their best time on soft tyres, and yes, everyone going out on soft tyres so far. They're taking no risks. Every lap is a virtue here at Jeddah. You've got track limits through practically every corner. So you've got to stay within those track limits, stay on the good side of the stewards, and you might just be taking home that provisional pole position. But it's not that time yet, it's time for Q2 and the start of Q2, as we've got 15 minutes, now 13 minutes left in the Q2 session. We've got people now coming across the line to start their flying lap. We've got the Haas going around turn 27 now, going wide for the best exit, and they're gonna start their flying lap attempt here, and their banker lap. Let's see what Hams could do. We've only got 14 drivers, so I'm not quite sure what's happened, but we've only got 14 drivers left. Let's see what Hams could do as they go perilously close to the wall, adds an exit of turn 3. We've got Hams now setting the first and fastest lap in the first sector. Closely behind we have Oliver following the tail of that Haas driver. Through sector 2 they go as we see the first retirement, and it is a Mercedes of FBI agent. I believe they parked it at the run up to turn 27, and they will be out and they will not set a best lap time as Face Buddy invalidates their first flying lap here in Jeddah. Let's see what we will have. We don't know the pace of everyone yet. We had Q1. It doesn't really provide that much of an insight. But let's see what everyone could do. Q2, we're going to start to see better lap times from everybody else. They're going to be pushing it onto the limits, and Oliver B 732 goes on provisional best lap time for Q2. We've got Conor Barry 2008 with a 1:28.2. They're topping their teammate as Roranga puts their AlphaTauri in P2. And the Ferrari shortly tops all of those times with a 1:27. We're gonna see improving lap times here. You can't expect your first lap time to be safe here in Jeddah. You don't know whether everyone is gonna push it on the limits on their final lap or anything. So you don't really know the pace of everyone unless you go into Q3 or later in this session, in fact. So stick along because we will see the true pace of everyone. But as I say that, we've only got 13 drivers remaining since FBI agent put it into the wall, I believe. we've got VLE going around the final corner, turn 27. It's a long track here, but they're going to come across the line, taking the most inside line to give them lap power advantage, and they do, with a 128.0. Still amputee Everett seems like a good lap time from the Ferrari drivers. We've got a bundle of cars cramping up at turn 27, and I believe that Alfa Romeo is off at turn 27, the final corner, and they have got a lack of a front wing here, and they will be coming into pits, no doubtedly, to put on a new front wing, and that will cost them valuable time, about 5 minutes here, to fix all that damage to Alfa Romeo as Vax on no pain. They put them as the best lap time provisionally in Q2. So it's 127.6. We've seen 2 lap times so far in the 127s. We will slowly see improvements as we've got vast difference from P1 and P12. There seems to be a clear line here. And it seems like Banks on 0 pin is running away with it, with about 0.2 of a second being put between amputee Everett in second and the Red Bull. We've got yellow flags being shown through sector 2 and 3 now for a slow going Red Bull and Alpine. Nothing's happened so far. We're gonna see everyone come into pits, and all the action is really gonna die out for the next about 5 minutes, as everyone will be preparing to do their final run and get the best track grip. Absolutely parched anyway. We've got we've got the only driver yet to set a lap time here in Q2, and currently in the drop zone, of course, in P13. Nowoski Polak. They're coming around the bend, I believe they're on their flying lap. Let's see their lap time here. Through sector 2 we go. We've got a fast left-hander followed by a fast right. And through turn 22 and 23, making sure to keep it within track limits. Every corner is a risk here to getting invalidated or corner cutting, but Nowoski Polak has kept it clean, and through the last corner they go. They're gonna enable their DRS for a long run down to turn 1. And they're going to put their Williams into P8 with a comfortable 128.4 time. But I expect everyone will still be putting on a new set of tyres. The first thing you will notice is that we've got a huge gap between P8 and P9, with about, I believe, over 0.5 of a second separating Nowoski Polak and XD Wavy 966. And everyone now going out on their outlap. We've got the Ferrari, McLaren, and the Alpine going out to start their lap. We're more or less midway through the session here. But Mr. Wheeler will start their lap, going a bit wide through turn 1. But that's fine if you can get a good exit from turn 2, which they have, and for the fast turn 3. through turn 4 they go. I believe that's turn 9, turn 10 now, yes, exit of turn 10. 11 and 12 here, you barely notice the corners, they are so high speed, and 5/10 improvement from the Alpine driver on their sector 1 time as they go through the spiral of turn 13, and 14 and 15 here. You barely notice those corners as a racing driver, they're faster bends, and as they go through turn 19 and 20, Forza run down to turn 22, 23 and 24. They've set the fastest sector 2 time of anybody else here in Q2. It's a flyer of the lap. Could they keep it clean, keep it out of the wall for turn 26 and 27? They've got DRS. We've got 3 DRS zones here, providing a lot of aerodynamic speed for all those drivers. So you're gonna have to get a good aero setup, and it looks like Mr. Wheeler will put their Alpine comfortably for safety, I'd reckon, with a 127.8 for P2 here in Q2. Rhymes, doesn't it? Almost like a poem. Anyway, we've got both Hasses. We've got Hams behind Zankstone. They're following each other, and it looks like both are currently in P12 and 13. It's the slowest, I should say, lap from the Haas drivers of anybody else here in Q2. But who has set a fast lap? It's the Ferrari of amputee Evipt. I believe they were in third, and they have just improved to make it a 127.3 as they take the fastest lap for Q2 out of Red Bull and Vax on 0 pin. It looks like a lot of drivers will probably be staying in the pits, and that Red Bull and Ferrari should be confident of their times. We've got Conor Barry. Will they come into pits? Will they stay out? They will come into pits. It's a tricky pit lane here. It's a fast approach into the pit lane. But Conor Barry, 2008, going into pits. And I believe we've got less than 3 minutes left, so that McLaren will have to have a quick turnaround if it wants to set another lap. It is currently 4th place. But if that's safe or not, will we see any better times? We don't know yet. We haven't seen the true pace of anybody yet, but we will now as Zankstein, closely followed by their teammate Hamzis here. They're going through sector 1. All cleanly through turn 4 and 5, not mounting the curb too much on turn 5. It's a tricky corner, turn 5. And it looks like they handled it well. As they go through the spiral of turn 13, it's a banking at turn 13, 14 and 15. Plays a part into the rundown of turn 16. We saw not to extend track limits there with the Haas hasn't, but I believe behind the Haas I did see someone go off. Was it Alfa Romeo? I'm not quite sure, but they have parked it through turn 26. They will get moving again as they let all the traffic come through, and we've got the Haas going past the Alfa Romeo at about 200 miles per hour here. Full run down to turn 27. They've got a good exit. They've got a great exit, in fact, for the main straight. They're going to keep it close to the wall, and they're only P11 from the Haas driver. And they are out of Q2 as their teammate goes P2. But Hams is out as they won't have enough ERS or time to start another lap. We've got XD Wavy, who is currently in the drop zone with a 128.9. They're going to be wanting to improve, and this is their only chance, and they're going to have to take it as they go through turn 5 and 6. All riding too much on the curb, and they are out. They've put it into the wall. Turn 5 has sent them straight into the wall, and they are out as their rear tire becomes detached from the car, and XD Wavy is out, and they will not set a better lap time as they sit in P12, but TXV Buzz in the Ferrari has a position to get out, and they're gonna have some clean air here. But we've got slow going Haas at the spiral of turn 13. It looks like they've got going again, but let's see what the Ferrari could do. They're about the last driver to start their final flying lap. What could they do? They're going around turn 5 cleanly as a whistle. And we've got turn 10 and now 11, 12, you barely notice it. Turn 13 now, gonna get a good exit, full of run down to turn 16. We've got a slow going Haas, not blocking the Ferrari at all. We've got them claring ahead. Let's see if the Ferrari could get it to us. I believe they go a bit wide through turn 17. But they carry on. Let's see what they could pull out of the second sector. Exit is everything here, and they go 8/10 up on their best sector 2 time. And they are currently 8/10 up on their overall best lap, and let's see what they could do. They're currently making it through, but they're gonna have to keep it clean through sector 3, which they have as they rush to enable DRS as soon as they can. They're using all their ERS down the main straight to put their Ferrari into P5, which knocks Phase Buddy down to P11, but as I say that, Phase Buddy in Alpine improves to P5. We're seeing improvements everywhere. Someone who is on the edge is Hams, and they will not set a better lap time as they are going slow on their final lap. And Hams and Oliver are out in P11 and P12 respectively. And there we go, that is the end of Q2 and the start of Q3, the most important qualifying session. What a qualifying session we've had. We've got Amputee Evipt putting their Ferrari in P1, and we've got 10 drivers to start Q3. We've got the Red Bulls, interestingly, not doing as good as they did in Q1. Let's see if they could rebound for Q3. We've got Viola E. Timmel in the Red Bull, barely making it through with a 128.044. And we've got FBI agent, most importantly, not putting in a lap time at all. So they're gonna have to rebound for the race. Lei didn't have the opportunity to get through into Q3, but could they recover during the race? And here we go, we've got Q3 as a final qualifying session here in Jeddah. We've got the season opener for Tier 4 in GSRL. So let's see, Amputee Evipt, they put their car in a good spot for Q2, putting in the best time. Could they keep this good run up for Q3? We will find out in a few short moments here, as we've got everyone going out on soft tyres. No surprises there. You've got to set a good banker lap. You never know what's going to happen if you're going to invalidate all your laps. We've seen that happen before. and you've got to sometimes take no risks, or maybe you've got to take all the risks you can. So let's see who will be the bravest driver around Zeta. We've got 27 corners. It's a long track. I believe about 4 miles. Yes, 4 miles. So it's a long high-speed track, relatively new. So let's get some rubber onto it, as we've got 10 drivers now out on track, as the Ferrari and Alpine, I believe, go out. Nope, the Alpine is choosing to stay in the pit lane, but we've got TVX Buzz going out on soft tyres. We've got 9 drivers so far. We've got 10 minutes in the Q3 session. What could they do? Are they gonna push their luck? Don't want a DNF, that's for sure. But Conor Barry will be the first one to go across the timing line to start their flying lap. Let's see what they could do. As we've got a long run down to turn 1. You want to cut to the inside of turn 1, going out wide to set yourself up bestly for turn 3 and 4, which they do. And let's see how they do around turn 4, keeping it to the inside of the wall, but it's a tight corner there. You want to make sure not to tap the wall and potentially ruin your race, not going over the curb of turn 5, which is so tricky before. But we've got a run down to turn 13, and corners absolutely fly past you like you don't even notice. But Conor Barry is keeping it quick, and most importantly, keeping it clean as well. As we've got turn 16 now. They choose a perfect line through turn 16, not too much on the curb. And they've got a good exit for a run down to turn 22 and 23. Let's see, Unia cutting across quite soon, which they have done, going across the curb nicely. This seems to be quite a clean lap from the McLaren driver of Conor Barry 2008 so far. We've got the final corner. You don't want to mess it up here, and you want to go as close to the wall as you can without tapping it, which Conor Barry has perfected, and they will go across the line to put in a reference lap for everyone else with 1:27.3. That is a good lap time, as we see no one currently topping that with Violi Timmel. We see that Violi Timmel, they do have pace, and still Conor Barry remain in that provisional pole position spot for the McLaren driver. So it seems to be a good lap from the McLaren so far. We've got the Ferraris next. We know they have pace. What could they do? They're going to enable DRS as soon as they get it. Across the lines they go to put them on provisional front row. And wow, what a lap time between P1 and P2. They're less than a tenth of a second separated by them. So that is absolutely amazing driving from both. We've got Face Buddy coming out late and starting their out lap now. TVX Buzz, I believe, has backed off their lap as they go slowly through sector 2, starting sector 3. And they are going slowly around the Jeddah. Yes, and I have got it. It's 3.8 miles around Zede. You've got 27 corners, of course. 2 spirals at turn 27 and turn 13. I've remembered that. But most corners are high speed here. Most of the corners you won't even notice as they fly past you on your lap. But it's only a lap time of around 1:27 on average in Zede. So not the longest lap, but we've got TVX Buzz starting their flying lap as they go around turn 1. Cleanly, not too much on the curb. Nice exit from the Ferrari, keeping it clean. Let's see what they do as they set a 2:36 time. That is obviously not competitive. but they're taking a good line here. This is reminiscent to the lap of Conor Barry, who is currently on provisional pole position, but they go a bit too wide, I'd say, on turn 8, I believe. Yep, that was turn 8. But let's see what they could do. Through sector 2 they go now. We've got the run down to turn 18 here. You've got to exit turn 18, coming as close to the wall as you can get. And you've got DRS for the second time in this 3.8 mile circuit. And you've got DRS shortly again. You've got 3 consecutive DRS zones. So let's see who will have the best aerodynamic setup here. That will be crucial, as TVX Buzz now, going through turn 27 cleanly. What will it be for the Ferrari driver? Could they? Nope, they will back off and into pit lane. And we've got 4 minutes left, and that is a smart choice. Being safe and not taking any risks if they can't get another lap in. Do excuse me as I put my controller to charging. I am completely sorry but let me know if you hear any buzzing noise. Let me know. I'll check on the live stream, but it should be fine. I'm just charging my controller here. I believe we're fine, but let me just check for good measure as we see everyone now starting their final flying lap here. We've got Amputee Evip, who is currently on provisional P2. They are doing well for themselves, but could they put their car onto pole position? We will find out quite shortly. They're currently a very similar lap time to provisional pole position lap time. Could we see any 126s? We've got a lot of pace in all these 10 drivers in Q3. Anyone could take pole, anything can happen, but we've got Amputee Evip. They've gone out early to start their final flying lap. They want to get some clean air, clearly. Yeah, I believe the sound is fine, just had to check. Want to give you the best quality that I can. We've got Amputee Evip going around turn 20 now, 22, 23, and that is 24, 25, 26. You barely even notice the corners anymore as a driver. No, that's turn 26. We've got a very short rundown from turn 26 to 27. But let's ride on board with Amputee Evip, as most drivers opt to take the outside line through turn 27, starting their final flying lap. We've got people going out. Hopefully that won't affect the Ferrari driver as they go mounting the curb on turn 2. Nicely from the Ferrari driver. We've got turn 3 now, fast approaching. Oh, and they take a very brave line to the inside of turn 4, and that was perilously close to the wall, and they are pushing the limits here. Could it pay off for the Ferrari driver as they go through sector 1 with the fastest lap time of anybody yet? It's a flyer from the Ferrari. Will it be good enough? As they now start in sector 2, we've got cars going slowly, not affecting the Ferrari driver. They've got some clean air ahead of them to push, but they go a bit wide through turn 16. They've recovered it well. Let's see what they could do. We've got the second DRS zone of the lap. Through turn 22. They're taking the outside line and mounting the curb, but not over the track limits, crucially for the Ferrari driver. Let's see what they could do as they start turn 27 now. They're currently in P2. It's a good spot, nevertheless, but they're trying to get pole position here in Jeddah for the season opener of GSRL. Could they do it? Across the lines they go. And no, it will be 400ths of a second off their best lap time. But we've got Conor Barry going across the line. And I believe they are starting their final flying lap. Yes, they are. We've got everyone now starting their final flying lap. We've got a few out-laps still. Let's see if they can make it to the line. That Red Bull of Vax on 0 pin looks quite tight actually to me. But we've got LaFerrari going slowly, and that is Amputievic going slowly through Sector 1. And that will not be an improvement from LaFerrari driver. We've got yellow flags being shown as Phase Buddy into Alpine retires from the session. Let's ride on board with the McLaren driver as they go through Sector 2 now. Through turn 16. They're doing it nicely here. Right on the edge is the McLaren driver. Could they improve for greater security to take pole position for the Tier 4 opener in Jeddah for GSRL? Let's see, they're going so close to the wall, they in fact touch it and pushing the limits too hard. They invalidate their lap, and that will not count for the McLaren driver. It was a promising lap, but it was ruined. Could anyone now take advantage of that? We've got Violi Timmel. They're on a good lap so far. In Sector 2, they're currently in P3. We see their teammate improving by 800ths of a second. It's a good lap time. But we've got Nevoski Polak taking pole position. Provisional pole position, I should say, was a 1:27.3. And that is currently the best lap time. As we see, 4 more drivers are going to put it across the line. We've got Raw Anger not improving. But we've got TFVX Buzz. They're improving massively on their 2 minutes and 36. What could they do? Across the line, it will be P9, an improvement from the Ferrari driver. But we've got Vax on 0 pin. They're going good so far. Could they nail the last sector and take pole position? Yes, they can! It's a 1:27.2 from the Red Bull driver of Vax as they go onto pole position for the last second of the race. It was the last lap for the Red Bull driver, and they go onto pole position. It's a 1:5 for Red Bull. It's a good day for them. Could they carry it through into the race? And they took pole position with the last second and the last lap of the qualifying session. It was close. Vax, can you turn off your mic? That echo is so annoying. God. Vax, turn off your... You know what, I'll just turn off party chat or something, I know. Oh, let me just do that. And I will shortly be back with you to bring you the race. Right, we have got the formation lap. Everyone go in to start the formation lap. Now, Red Bull approaching the turn 1. They're starting on in... Nope, soft tyres. we've got a very mixed grid. We've got Vax taking pole position. They're starting on the soft tyres. Clearly they want to extend their lead. Novoski Polak and most people are on medium tyres, but we've got a lot of soft and hard tyres going on for everyone. Especially at the back, who are... Looks like everyone at the back is trying different strategies, as I believe we see Vax on 0 pin going wide there. And let me just warm up my voice here to bring you the start of the race. We've got the predicted strategy being, for those who are starting on medium or soft, they're gonna pit between lap 8 and 15. I believe that's a gap. You wanna ideally pit first and do the undercut if you're in the soft tyres, of course. We've got FBI agent and F1 Moors being disqualified from the formation lap. As we've got now all drivers approaching turn 16 to line up on the grid. This will be interesting. Could Novoski Polak take the lead into turn 1, get a way better start than Vax? Of course Vax will have the tyre grip advantage. That's why I don't expect any center change on the first lap between those two. But you could never say never, and Novoski Polak could actually take P1 and slow down the probably fast escaping Vax. As everyone now line up on the grid, and we have got the race start. Everyone lining up, nerves for these drivers are running high through the Tier 4 GSRL season opener, and right, here we go. This is not a good camera angle at all, but we've got 5 red lights going out, and away we go! Vax taking a good lead, but Novoski Polak will have the inside line. We've got the Ferrari and McLaren side by side. The Ferrari making a lunge into the inside. Nothing working for the Ferrari drivers. The Red Bull takes P4 on the inside of the Ferrari. They've moved up to P4. We've got Carnage on the start as Jen Castine falls to P19, 2.4 seconds away from the rest of the grid. We have XD Waving following the McLaren closely behind. Through the bend of turn 7 we go. We've got XD Wavy taking a good slipstream on the McLaren. They're both so close together. We've got the top 4 staying the same as of yet. But we've got Connor Barry taking a good run on the inside of the Williams. Could they make a move? They're gonna have the slipstream. Could they make a move early on in lap 1? We've got the run down to turn 20. On the inside of the Williams. They're gonna have the outside now. Could they stick it? No. Both drivers going wide through turn 22. We've got the Red Bull now taking a better exit and taking the inside line on both drivers to maybe move up to P2. Let's see. Novoski Polak will have the outside line and the Red Bull going wide, forcing the Williams to back off, but who has a good exit? No! Connor Barry spins out at the exit of turn 27. They were caught up in that muggle of cars for P2, and they have spun and they've got front wind damage now, as we see some people coming into pit. Yes, Connor Barry does have front wind damage, and they will come into pits. And that is not the best start for Connor Barry. But interestingly, we've got Vax on 0 pin, taking a 5-second lead. Sensational stuff from the Red Bull driver of Vax. So fair play to them. They've clearly benefited from starting on soft tyres. And now we have got the end of the VSC. as we've got two Ferraris fighting side by side. Where have we seen this before? As they go through the spiral of turn 13, we've got TVX Buzz less than 2/10 away from the back of their teammate. We've got the Ferrari TVX Buzz still remain in that gap, and then we've got the two Alpines. Interestingly, we've got Mr. K Wheeler on the inside of their teammate, and Face Buddy was never gonna fight that, but Mr. Wheeler goes wide on the exit of turn 22, and they will give a run to XD Wavy, who has the outside line for turn 27. But XD Waving making a lunge down the inside of the Alpine of Mr. Wheeler, and they will pull that move off, but quickly behind comes Mr. Wheeler again, as they've got a slipstream. What is happening in front? As we've got VLE Timmel being challenged by the Ferrari. They're gonna go side by side into turn 4. We don't see this often, but we've got everything staying the same, I believe, as it was, as VLE Timmel keeps P2. And as I say all of that, we've got TVX Buzz closing in on their teammates. This allows them to access the battle for P2. We've got yellow flags now being thrown through sector 1 and 3, and it looks like we have a driver off, and it is F1 Mars, as they fall 8 seconds behind the rest of the grid. We've got TVX Buzz. I believe DRS is now enabled. We've got XD Wavy making their final move past Mr. Wheeler, and XD Wavy did not have to wait for DRS to make that move on the Alpine. But could they get their teammate now? They're going to get a good exit through turn 22. XD Wavy now. They're closing in on the back of the Alpine. Will it be good enough? We've got the two Ferraris ahead of them fighting for P3. But the Alpine down the inside of XD Wavy makes a lunge for it as they make contact. As Mr. Wheeler goes into the side of XD Wavy. And they have got contact, but have they got any damage? As we see the Ferrari keeping behind the Red Bull driver. Let's see if Alpine or Alfa Romeo have any damage, as they made contact through the exit of turn 27. The Alpine of Mr. Wheeler tapping the rear tyre of XD Wavy. But let's see what we have. We've got the fight for P2 evolving, as they are now actually catching Vanks on 0 pin ahead, as we have now got a safety car to calm everything down, and that is because of the retirement of Jesus is Milan, as they drop to P16 with a retirement from the Mercedes team. It's not looking good for the Mercedes team so far, as they've got the other driver running in P13 and Jesus, of course, being out. And because of that, we have a safety car, which will actually not be very good for Vanks on 0 pin, as now all the field is going to get bunched up, and that advantage they got is going to disappear. And now breathe, as they say in the commentating sport. And will Vanks stay out, or will they go in? They're gonna go into box as it were, for the Red Bull team. Gently into box, and they are boxing onto some hard tyres. That will solely last them until the end of the race, and they are actually replacing the front wing on that Red Bull. It's unclear if they got damaged, but it looks like they knocked the wall somewhere, which is why they've come in, and they're gonna drop to about P9, I believe. Yeah, P9, as they come out in P9. But we've got the medium tyre runner of VLE Timmel, of course a Vax teammate, taking the lead now. And behind them we've got the two Ferraris and two Alpines. we've got everyone below P8 coming into pits, and we're gonna have Vax onto some new set of hard tires. We've got P9 to P14 running on some new set of hard tires. They're gonna want to last until the end of the race. We've got 20 laps. That might be a challenge, but they're gonna make them last and hopefully make some overtakes on those people running old hard tires and now seemingly old mediums. We have got one safety car restart and a half. We've got everything calm as the safety car will lead us through lap 5 and 6 now. Will anyone come into pits? We will see. Nope, everyone's staying out now. Everyone seems content on these tires. And we will now pop up the position change dynamic here, as we will see the best drivers. We've got the big winners, Vieli Timmel, moving up 4 places. Basically everyone from 1st to 8 moving up a few places because they haven't pit yet. But a huge winner of the first 5 laps was XD Wavy, who now moves up 7 positions. Of course, still on that old medium compound tire. They will have to come into pits quite soon, but I'm sure they're not worried about that right now. We've got the safety car. Will it come into pit lane? Another one out is of course Face Buddy, and I believe, yep, we've got safety car in this lap, but as I was saying, Face Buddy, they're an odd one out since they're on old hard tires in a grid with new hard tires or old mediums, so it's going to be hard for them. But we've got VLE Timmel now coming across turn 26. Will they go now or will they go late? Let's see. The Ferrari staying very close to the Red Bull. Will they go now? Yes, they will. No. Yes, they will. They will go now. And that gives the Ferrari a good run on the Red Bull. They're about 2/10 into main straight. Could the Ferrari make a lunge down the inside? They're going to think about it, but no. We're all clean through turn 1. But we've got the 2 Alpines fighting as Face Buddy is forced across the track. And they've got a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. This allows XD Wavy to move up to P5. Taking advantage of the 2 Alpines fighting for positions here. We've got FBI Agent now in 8th place. What could they do? They've got a good run on the Alpine, but ahead of them we've got Raw Anger making a move past XD Wavy. Let's see what we got as Amputee. They fall a few positions, not quite sure what happened there, but Vax making their recovery quite quick up to the pole position, up to the top spots. We've got FBI Agent falling a few places. We've got Carnage at turn 14 as every driver but Vax making a move on the inside of the Alpine of Face Buddy. They're making a recovery quick. They've got pace on those hard tyres. A new set of tyres. Some more track grip for the Red Bull driver. We've got more carnage behind them as we've got side by side going into turn 27. We've got the McLaren on the inside. Will they give the Haas space? Let's see. No, they won't, but we've got the Williams on the inside of the Mercedes. We've got the two McLarens side by side. But up ahead, we've got Mr. Wheeler trying to make a move onto AlphaTauri. Nothing working as of yet. But we've got Conor Barry trying to switch back onto Haas driver who is on the hard compound. Nothing working there. But we've got the Haas going quite slowly. Will that allow the McLaren to make a move? The McLaren has a good exit and they might just make a move. We've got Vax now making a move again past Face Buddy on the inside of turn 13, the spiral corner. It's a really banked corner and they have made a move on the inside of it. But we've got the McLaren of Conor Barry under pressure here. We've got the Haas not having any DRS yet, but they will have a good slipstream on the back of the McLaren driver. And the McLaren seems to get a better exit than the Haas. But we've got now XD Wavy on the inside of the Ferrari, and right behind them is Vax on 0 pin. We've got the McLaren, we've got the Alfa Romeo making a move on the inside of the Ferrari. The Ferrari gets a better exit on the outside line, and this allows Vax to close up between them. And we've got the Ferrari of TVX Buzz making a dive down the inside of the AlphaTauri, but the AlphaTauri gets a better exit than the Ferrari and cuts across at turn 2 to keep P2. We've got the Alfa Romeo running wide, and that gives Face Buddy a great exit. That compromises the line of the Alfa Romeo, and Face Buddy will be so close to the rear wing of the Alfa Romeo going into turn 13. Will they stick it around the inside? XD Wavy will stick it around the inside to keep P7. We've got the Red Bull of Vax getting a good exit onto Ferrari, and they are moving on the back straight past the Ferrari, and now the Ferrari is in their rear view mirrors. But we've got XD Wavy being forced out by the Alpine. XD Wavy will have DRS. Oh, and forced into the wall is Face Buddy, who then takes out XD Wavy. Clearly a raid from Face Buddy as they smash into the side of that Alfa Romeo rear tyre. We've got the top two separated by barely 0.3 of a second here. We've got Raw Anger closing up to the Red Bull. But we've got Vax making moves back to P1's AR. Let's ride on board as they are trying to make a move past the rear wing of the Alpine of Mr. Wheeler. They're gonna get a good exit. Could they already make the move before any DRS is enabled? Yes, they will, as they move already a car length ahead of the Alpine. But the Alpine, nope, no fight in it for the Alpine, but they will get DRS, the Alpine will. So let's see what they could do. They're gonna get a bad exit, but could it be good enough? Vax will also have DRS, I believe, as they smash into the wall of turn 13. Very aggressive driving, pushing the limits from the Red Bull driver. Let's see what the Red Bull could do. They're closing up to the rear wing of the Ferrari, who is going quite slowly on those old medium tyres. Could they already make the move done before the main straight? They're gonna close up, but not closing up enough They're gonna get a good exit from turn 27. This will set them up nicely for a move into turn 1. The Ferrari does not have any DRS, but the Red Bull will have DRS and a good slipstream, and they will make a move on the inside of the Ferrari, braking perfectly, not too late. But that does not allow TVX Buzz to come back as the Red Bull driver, parks it nicely to keep P3. We've got Zenkenstein close on the tail of the Williams of Errol Matthew. Very close on the tail, and they're gonna get a good exit from turn 11 through turn 12 we go now. Full run down to turn 13. Nothing seems to be happening there, but here's where it all lies. The fight for P1 between Raw Anger, who has got a good exit from turn 17. Could they make a move on the Red Bull? They'll have DRS for the first time. They're going to close up to about 3/10 behind the Red Bull, who is using all their remains of the ERS and actually harvesting their energy. But let's see what Raw Anger could do. They're going to get DRS. The Red Bull isn't going to fight this one. Or will they? VLE Timmel. They're going to outbreak Raw Anger, but Raw Anger, they're going to have the outside line, and they will have DRS for the main straight, which will help them cement their move. But behind, we've got the Red Bull teammate, Vax on 0 pin, making a move for P2, and VLE Timmel is not fighting that. But could Vax now? They're on 7 lap old hard tyres, which are supposed to last until the end of the race. They're gonna have to make a move on the back of Raw Anger here, as they go so close to the inside of the walls there. Oh, they're gonna go straight on at turn 7. They're gonna use too much of the curb, and they are going to go badly, drop into P3. We've got Vax closing in on their teammate. We've got 2/10 between the two Red Bulls. We've seen what this could happen, a Red Bull behind another Red Bull, but will they keep it clean? VLE Timmel outbreaks Vax, but Vax now has a better exit. We've got yellow flags through sector 3, and VLE Timmel will come into pits to put on a new set of rubber. We've got fights going on for P9, as we've got the Ferrari taking the inside line on the Alpine. The Ferrari will have DRS on the back of the Alpine. They're gonna dummy them into pits, nothing working for the Alpine. But the Ferrari moves to the inside of the Alpine for turn 1. They're equally side by side, but having the inside line. No, Mr. Wheeler gets a bad exit, and that allows the Ferrari to make a move past the Alpine driver. We've got a bit of understeer and a bit of wheel spin from Zenkenstein as we're following on board with Karnen Wine 7. We've got Karnen now with a 4/10 gap. But for the fight for P1, we've got Vax now, 3/10 behind Raw Anger. This will be an easy move on some newer tyres. They will make a move on the inside and nothing fighting that one. But we've got Karnen now, closing up. But closer we have FBI Aiton making a move on the Williams, who quickly shuts the door. The Mercedes has to back off the Williams to avoid contact. We've got Rorango, who is actually quite close to the back of the Red Bull and actually made a move They got DRS down the main straight and they made a move. But could the Red Bull come back? No, they'll have to wait as FBI agent sticking it at the back of the Williams. They're stuck in P5 themselves. We've got the fight for P1. Raw Angus seems to be going defensive. Despite being on 13 lap old medium tyres, could they hold up the Red Bull anymore? They're gonna have to get past quick if the Red Bull wants to excel and extend their lead. This AlphaTauri is holding them up, but that might not be a problem coming into second DRS zone. So let's see what happens. We've got already less than 2/10 separating them. We've got Vax now. Will they go inside or outside? They're going to go inside, as we've got yellow flags being shown through turn 13. Looks like someone's gone off, but Vax, no! They've gone into wall! At turn 22, they've gone into wall. They've gone too wide, and they go into side of the wall at turn 22, putting their Red Bull out of the race. And now we have a VSC to slow things down, but Vax putting their front right rear tyre into wall. They've gone wide on the start of turn 22, and they failed to back off, and they just gone straight into the wall at turn 22. That is a bad crash from the Red Bull driver. And this will allow the top 5 now to pit and get rid of their old tyres. Violi Timmel, will they still come out ahead? Khan and Wine 7, not pitting. They've got 10 lap old hard tyres, but they're not pitting. And now that is the end of the VSC. We've got some people who went into pits, but now we've got the end of the VSC. We resume with the race in action. We've got FBI agent and the Williams. It looks like the Mercedes has managed to get past the Williams driver, and maybe they'll expand their advance more into the next spot. Let's see the Mercedes closing, but not close enough to make a move on Mr. Wheeler into Alpine. The Mercedes opting for the outside line. Let's see what will happen. We've got DRS enabled. They'll both have DRS, but could the Mercedes make a better exit through turn 17? They'll have DRS on the back of the Alpine, who doesn't, and they'll move to the outside, and they will overtake, going at about 206 miles per hour. The Mercedes pulls off a clean move on the Alpine, but now the Alpine will have DRS. And is this a chance to come back at the Mercedes driver? They're closing, but are they close enough? No, they won't make a move, but they'll get a good exit. A bit too much wheel spin for the Alpine driver. We've got Jenkinstein now, close on the rear of the Ferrari. They've got new medium tyres as opposed to hard tyres, so they'll have the grip advantage here. Let's see what will happen as the Ferrari goes a bit wider, grabbing a bit too much of the curb. That will allow Jenkinstein to close up. The Ferrari surely won't have any DRS ahead. Oh, and we've got the Ferrari with a poor exit from turn 16. This will allow the Haas to close up and maybe make a move. We've got 3 drivers out so far, Vax being one of them, the pole position holder, as we see Jenkinstein making a move on the inside of the Ferrari. But will they cement it? TVX Buzz, the driver behind, getting a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. But we've got the Mercedes, and through goes the Mercedes on the outside of both drivers. They chose the right line, and they have moved ahead of both. They'll use all their ERS possible to stay ahead, but they can't defend from Jenkinstein, who is coming faster behind them. And Jenkinstein moves their Haas up to P5, and Khan and Wine is out of the race as they slam into the wall of turn 5, I believe. They've slammed into the wall, and the person who was running in P1 is now out, and we've got yellow flags being sown. We've got Vax and Conan, who are both running in P1 at the time of the race. Both crashing out. And Conan Wine clearly having no grip on those 12 lap old hard tyres. They were running comfortably in P1, but maybe pushing it a bit too much. They have crashed into the side of the wall, and that makes it 5 eliminations, as Mr. Wheeler, I believe, is also out for an unrelated incident. But we've got FBI agent making a move through the second DRS zone on the Haas driver. They're going to get a good lead, and they're going to get a good exit. And we've got the Mercedes not fighting the move from the Haas drivers. Everything seems to quieten down. We've only got 7 laps left. Some people might still be looking to come into pits, and we've got yellow flags being sown from Nadeski Polak, who has spun in combination with the Aston Martin through turn 1. No, that is turn 15, I believe. No, turn 22. They've spun at turn 22, and that will result in a safety car. A virtual one at that, but it's still slowing down the pack. And F1 Mars and Nadeski Polak come together at the exit of turn 22, and both drivers will slowly be coming into pits now. Yes, they will. We've got FBI agents still hot on the tail of Jenkinstein. They've been fighting over that P4 spot for quite a while now, but could FBI agents cement a move past the Haas driver? The Haas driver going slowly, and the Mercedes having to back off, not wanting to make the move just yet. They're gonna go very close to the wall, and now they're gonna get a good run on the Haas driver. They're gonna go on the inside of the Haas, and they're gonna make a move up to P4. But could Jenkinstein come back at the Mercedes, who will get a better exit out of turn 27? We've got the Haas just scratching the wall there. We've got Raw Anger, interestingly, who is on the newer tyres and softer compounds than Amputee Evipt, but Amputee Evipt still closing up to the back of the AlphaTauri. And we have got Amputee Evipt spinning into the side of the wall at the exit of turn 13. It looks like they have no grip on those 8 lap old hard tyres, as they have spun themselves out, and they have spun themselves down to P8. And it looks like they have also got front wind damage, as they seem to be going slowly than everyone else. But we've got the two Haas's fighting it out for P4 now. We've got the two Haas's now actually waving, picking up a 3-second time penalty for themselves. They're currently in P10 with a good gap to everyone else, and Jenkinstein not fighting the move from their teammate, as Hams moves up to P4. It's a good day for the Haas team. XD Wavy seems fine from P11, they've got a good gap. But let's see how penalties will affect as I swap over to the penalty screen. We've got XD Wavy picking up 3 seconds. We've got also TVX Buzz picking up another 3 seconds. We've got F1 Moss picking up 6 seconds, as well as Phase Buddy picking up 3 seconds as well. We've got 5 laps left, and we have currently got 5 retirements out of this race. Seems to have calmed down for now, but Hams still wanting to make a challenge on that Mercedes of FBI agent. The interesting one is the fight for P1 as Roranger is closing up to the back of VLE Timmel. About 3.5 seconds here from about 5 seconds 5 laps ago. So this is very interesting to see how it will play out. Roranger has the newer tyres, and they have soft tyres which will give them more grip. Could they make a charge for P1 as we've got Hams now in the DRS range of FBI agent in the Mercedes? Hams now picking up a good slipstream from the Mercedes. Could they get a good exit? Little Tapler inside of the wall at turn 14. Have they got front wing damage? It's unclear to see. It looks like they're fine to continue, but they're nearly tapping the wall. Everyone pushing limits, and now F1 Moors is the next to retire, and they retire in the pit lane. It's not been a good session for them. As they go out in P14, that will be no points for the Aston Martin driver. But Hams now closing in on the Mercedes. Could we see a last lap move here? We've got the Haas sticking behind the Mercedes for another lap. And we've got everyone not in their DRS zones of anybody else, and it looks like to be quieting down. We've got Roranger now closing the gap to 1.8 seconds between them and VLE Timmel. VLE Timmel seems to be finding absolutely no pace on those old hard tyres. Could Roranger use all their remaining tyre life in those soft tyres and make a move on VLE Timmel? They're going to be less than 1.5 seconds going into main straight and going into lap 23. We've got 2 laps left. Anything could still happen for P1. And it looks like we have yellow flags temporarily, not quite sure what that's for. We've got both drivers in P1 and P2 pushing the limits here. Could Roranger close up to the DRS zone of VLE Timmel? They're gonna try their luck, but could they get a better exit? TVX Buzz making a move on the Haas, who I believe goes wide. TVX Buzz still has a penalty to serve, of course. But these two don't, who are fighting for P1 currently. Anything could happen between those two. We've got Roranger now picking up DRS on the back of the Red Bull of VLE Timmel. Could VLE Timmel hold it till the end of the race, or could Roranger use some raw pace and catch up to VLE Timmel? Those softs are gonna fall off a cliff soon. And we've got the AlphaTauri picking a better line than the Red Bull, gives them the better exit. And we've got the next retirement, Nowoski Polak, as they retire on the exit of turn 6, I believe. It has not been a good race for them. Of course, they made contact with F1 Mars, and their race has been downhill from there. But these two are fighting for P1 now. Roranger is so close to the gearbox of the Red Bull as Conor Barry goes into wall at turn 27 here. And that is out for the McLaren driver. We've got yellow flags being thrown through sector 3 as we've got the Alfa Romeo and 2 McLarens fighting for the P9 spot, I believe. And that forces Conor Barry to go into wall. But let's see what could happen. Roranger seems to be quite far away from VLE Timmel. They're gonna have to pull out something special here to form an overtake on the Red Bull driver. Roranger is saving up the ERS. Could they make it hard now, or will they wait it up until the final lap? We've got Conor Barry now joining Zaza 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 retirements. As we've got Zenkstein and the Ferrari fighting it out for P5. Zenkstein opting to have DRS on the back of the Ferrari for the second DRS zone. So let's see what will happen. Zenkstein will have the better grip on medium tyres, but could they form a move? The Ferrari is going to brake check them to get DRS. But Lahas will have to get DRS on the back of the Ferrari. What will happen here? As I have to move to the fight for P1, but as I say that, Zenkstein makes a move cleanly on the outside of TVX Buzz. Now we've got the final lap. We've got Roranger saving up all their ERS. We've got 5 tenths in it for first place. Could we see a fight to the end between these two? VLE Timmel using all their ERS. They've got 14% left. But we've got Roranger now closing up to the back of the Red Bull. Will it be enough? We've got 7 tenths in it. Let's see how they exit from turn 22 here in Zeta. Who will win the season opener? It's still all to play for, yet we've only got 20 seconds left of racing. We've got Roranger with an amazing slipstream. They're going to go outside of the Red Bull driver going into turn 27, and they're going to take the lead on the last lap. And they are going to come. No! They've spun an exit of turn 27. And that allows VLE Timmel to go past the AlphaTauri driver. Roranger had a bit of wheel spin at the exit of turn 27. They seem destined to win. But no. VLE Timmel goes across the line to win the season opener here in Zeta for Tier 4 in Global Speed Racing League. And what a end we had between these two. These two definitely put on a show. And Roranger having that bit of wheel spin and a bit of no grip as well for the AlphaTauri driver. They spun it, but they managed to recover it and they come home for P2. It's not the P1 that they would have hoped for going into the last corner, but they pick up P2 here. Whew. And now take a breather. What a last lap that was. And we've got the Red Bull, AlphaTauri and the Mercedes on the podium. The Mercedes of FBI Ayton will pick up an extra point for collecting the fastest lap, and what a race it was. And now I truly do have to go, so good night and good evening. We've got Raw Anger. They lost it at Exov turn 27, the last corner, the final lap, where it matters the most. They lost it, and that gave VLE Timmel a better traction from turn 27, and they managed to get past the AlphaTauri driver who previously overtook them on the second DRS straight. So, goodbye.